us, wherever you are around the world, joining us at goodlifetelevision.org. We welcome you. Those of you joining us locally on the airwaves here in Santa Barbara, California, and TV Santa Barbara, we welcome you as well. We're so glad you're with us. So many great guests, so many good stories. You can find them now. The goodlifetelevision.org website has kind of been revamped, so you can search by category. It's really user-friendly, and we hope you like it. There's also power clips there, and you can follow us on all the social media platforms. But we're talking about the good stuff. We're talking about overcoming, for example, and that's what we're talking about today. I'm so glad to have my guest, Cooper Mulholland, is with me. Cooper, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So Cooper has quite a story, and I want to kind of go back to kind of just tell us about your upbringing. Kind of, you came up, you were in athletics in high school. Tell us kind of about that before we get to kind of what happened here.
So I grew up in Simi Valley my whole life, and I'm still living there. I grew up playing baseball since I was real little, and then I got into high school and switched over to football and was into that for a while, and then after I graduated, wanted to pursue the fire career.
Yeah, what was it about firefighting that had your interest?
It's just real hands-on and like just physical, like and being outside all the time and just helping people at the same time.
Yeah.
It just really interested me.
And so you wanted to do that kind of from a young age?
Yeah, for a while.
Okay, so you're graduating high school. You ended up taking some classes at Oxnard College, and you're preparing for a career in firefighting.
Yeah.
Right. And so take us back to June 10th of 2020, and tell us what happened.
So June 10th, I went to the school, picked up my diploma because we started doing homeschool because of COVID. And after I picked up my diploma, later that night, I was driving and a guy ran a red light and hit me in my truck, and it was just a big mess. I caught my truck on fire. I was unconscious. Some bystanders saw it and had to pull me out of my truck, and thankfully they did. Yeah, they saw it starting to catch on fire, and they were like, "We have to get him out of here, or else it's gonna burn."
Oh my gosh! And what is your memory? What do you remember?
I mostly just remember when they first got me out of the truck, and I was laying on the ground, and then I really opened my eyes to like a firefighter's face in my face, making sure I'm okay and checking everything on me.
And what were your injuries in that accident?
So it was just lots of cuts and bruises, and then the two biggest ones were I had a big burn on my ankle, and I separated my shoulder, and I had to get surgery on my shoulder.
Okay, and you're 18?
Yeah, I was 18 at the time.
And so how did that accident affect you? Like did you feel lucky, blessed? How did that accident impact you?
Yeah, just really opened my eyes to just like how quick everything can change.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that happens, and then 10 months later, we're now in April of 2021. You're driving your motorcycle home from work. Tell us what happened this time.
So I was just going home from work, and a driver turned left in front of me at the intersection, and I didn't have enough time to stop, and I just hit the side of their car and got ejected from the motorcycle.
Wow. And you lost your leg.
Yeah, that was the biggest issue. They said everything else was good with my body and head. It was just the main thing was my leg, and then they had to amputate it because it was too damaged.
And so what is your memory of this? I mean, what do you remember about that accident?
I don't remember nothing at all.
Really?
Yeah. Just like, I guess it was days later when I woke up in the hospital, and that's all I remember. And they kind of gave me like a brief breakdown of what happened, and I don't remember any of it.
Wow. So you wake up in the hospital, and somebody came and visited you. A nurse who had worked with you had also worked with another patient who was, I guess, a LA County sheriff or sheriff's department or
Yeah.
police officer. So what happened when he visited you?
So he came in, and I was actually pretty confused at first on like,
Why is he here?
why is he here? And he kind of just told me, he's like, yeah, like I do the job I do, and he showed me he was an amputee, and I was kind of like mind blown at first. I was like, wow, like you really can do what you want to do if you like put your mind to it.
And so have you stayed in touch with him? I mean,
Yeah, it's been off and on. If I have questions about things or all that, and he'll like check on me, see how everything's going.
Wow. So he is an example of somebody who he had an accident, was an amputee, and then went back to what he was doing
Yeah,
as a LA County Sheriff's officer.
yeah.
Wow. How are you doing? I mean, and kind of what has this been like? This has not been very long. I mean, we're sitting here in February of 2022. This is not even a year
Yeah.
since this accident. You got this, your leg you said around Halloween time. What is this like now for you?
It was pretty weird at first because for the longest time I couldn't even get out of bed, and then I started to move on to crutches, and I was on those for a very long time, and they were like fitting me with the leg and everything and seeing how that was going. And then I actually had to end up getting another surgery because I was having extra bone growth in my leg, and that was causing issues with using a leg. So then after that, I let that heal and everything again, and then I actually got to start using a leg and get used to that.
And are you adapting pretty well? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty close to the point where I was back to doing everything I'm doing before the accident.
wow. So, you know, this is hard stuff. I mean, at your age, you've dealt with a lot of hard stuff. And sometimes I think we can get our perspective off where we think we've got problems if, whatever, the Amazon package doesn't arrive by 2 p.m., or something like we get in these different perspectives that aren't good. How has this changed your perspective just on life, on everyday life?
It just really shows me that, like, people are capable of doing, like, so much more. Like, I've never even thought about in my life before, like, walking by an amputee and thinking what they go through on a daily basis. And now, like, I experience all that all the time. And it like, changes the way you do things a little bit, you have to adjust to it, but you could still do it.
Still do it.
Yeah, you can still do it.
And you're going on. So you told me before we came on that you're going to go to Lake Tahoe and pursue the same kind of path that you were thinking about before. Talk about that.
So I've been in contact with the Lake Tahoe fire chief, and we've been talking back and forth, and he's mostly just like asking if I feel capable of completing the tasks that the job requires. And I feel confident enough in how well I'm doing with my leg to complete it. So
he's talking about, like, physically, can you do it?
Yeah.
And you think you can?
Yeah. And they're going to give me the opportunity to try it out and see how I could do it.
Wow, that's fantastic. So when you were in the hospital and you're laying in bed and after all this happened, what were you thinking about? Like, just during the day. I don't know what you're doing, but what was going through your mind at this time?
Kind of just figuring out, like, how am I going to do it, because, like, I've never, like I said, like, thought about what it was like being an amputee. So I was kind of just, like, a little worried to how everything would be, like, what would change, or if anything would change, and if I have to find a different career path, just all that type of stuff.
Wow. And you probably had a lot of support.
Yeah, lots.
Yeah, that's important. Well, I just admire your resilience and the fact that you're going to keep going. What do you think down the road? Do you think, are you thinking about a long career? Are you thinking about a family? What is kind of your vision for as you look ahead?
Probably to just every goal I set, try to complete, you know, just continue what I wanted to do and act like it never even happened.
Yeah.
Because right now it doesn't feel like it really changed much. I mean, like the recovery process, like it felt like, wow, my world changed, but like now it feels pretty back to the way it was, like not as difficult.
So if you could say something to somebody this has just happened to them, they just had an accident, they're in recovery or in the hospital or struggling, well, would you have anything to say to them at this point?
It'll get way better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you'll probably forget about like how hard it was at first, and then once they're getting moving, everything will just happen so much quicker.
Yeah. Keep on going.
Yeah.
Man, I'm a fan. Good work. We'll be rooting for you as you head off to Lake Tahoe.
Thank you.
I'm really impressed. So keep on going. That's the message. Resilience. This is a resilient young man. Thanks for watching. See you next time.